G'day and welcome to chapter 28 of my RX323 resto videos. In this chapter, the car hasn't been running that well and I figure out why. Here's a clue. So I get that sorted, I remove the engine wiring harness from the car and integrate a few more components into that wiring harness and put that back in the car. Also get stuck inside the car and just modern up the wiring inside the car under the dash, remove that old fuse box, get rid of the old glass type fuses and put the modern spade type fuses in. Get the fans running as well. So also please, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you keep up to date with my latest content. I hope you enjoy the video. So you might remember in one of the other videos, you remember when the engine started, it actually started up and ran pretty good considering its first start. And yeah, there was no dramas, but then subsequently it keeps on going downhill and I found the coils. One of the coils had failed. So I was recommended, so I have a whole heap of spare coils lying around, so I put another coil in here. This is another one, and then I start up, run it, come back a week or so later, try it again, and another coil had gone. I thought, why are these coils keep on failing? It can't be that bad. So this is what I found. So here lies the problem. So we've got our coils, our two coils, our ignition ECU, which is here, the engine ECU, which is here. So what I have found is, one, I don't have this pink wire here running to the positive side of the trailing one coil, but most of all, here, this ignition feed to the positive side of the coil, which is 12 volts, and the signals that come from the ECU goes to the negative side of the coils. This one says ignition. It doesn't say power all the time. So what happens when you run power all the time to the coils? It fries the coils. So hence in lies the problem. So what I've done, I've gone and bought some new coils, which are here. So I've trotted off down to my local Burson store and I have, voila, 4 new Bosch Hex 715 coils. I did a fair bit of research on the internet knows everything, and everyone recommends these ones. These are the ones that are actually on the car anyway, but these are a new style of coil, but it's supposed to be ideal for the application of this rotary engine. So this is it. Pretty cheap, 60, 65 bucks each. Comes with the coil, the brackets, so the brackets go like that, and also all the mounting screws for the brackets, extra bolts, and some wiring pieces, but I don't really need that because all the other stuff's already on the car. So time to fit up the coils again. Outside to get in a bit of fresh air at the moment. Been working hard, finally got the coils now all set up. So these are all the new coils. Mounted them up to the bracket, put all the wiring in, done them all up to the original Deutsch connector. So that's ready to go back in the car now. I've also pulled out the wiring harness out of the car. I just went through it from top to bottom. There was a few things that I'd left off it, which I wanted to integrate into the harness. One was coolant temperature. There's coolant temperature for the ECU and there's coolant temperature for the gauge. So I wanted to get all them done. I've just labelled all the injector plugs, water temperature and throttle position, all that sort of stuff. It's pretty basic, so it's easy to remember anyway. Just make sure the earths and that were really good. So I've got to have the earth for the coils and ECU direct on the engine, so that's there. That one's for the oil pressure sender, the oil pressure sender signal, coils. So then from here onwards it goes inside the car, And I've just made sure I've labelled everything on here, so if someone else has a bit of a play, they know what they are. So we've got the fan trigger, what else we got here? Ignition, fuel pump trigger, and then the plugs that go to the ECU. And this is just the main power feed. You can see it's a thick red one. I've labelled it on the side. One's ignition, one's for the coils. So, time to put them back in the car. Okay, so I've just laid back in the harness. It goes down through here into the firewall. This is the map sensor vacuumer. I've got to feed that through there as well. So I'm just laying it all back down. So there's my earth, which goes on to there. Earth for the oil pressure sender, oil feed, and these are the obviously throttle position switches and temperature sender and all that sort of stuff. So I can just tighten up the earth on the engine. I'm just making sure it doesn't turn and damage anything, and it is. Okay, one of the other things I've done, I've just worked out which direction the wires need to go for the fan, and then I've plugged it in right here. So all I did was I just removed the relay, which is over here, and then just shorted it, and then just run a split pin across it, just to, yep, so that's pulling air through that way. So that way I know which the polarity is right now for the fan. So now that's all set, and at least I know when the engine gets hot now, it's going to go the right way. Okay, I've got the coils here now, so it's time to pop them back on. It's pretty simple. Let us bolt down in here. Alright, there we have it. The coil's mounted up, the wiring harness is back in. Now it's onto the interior. Now that the under bonnet wiring is all sorted, it's time to take care of all the wiring inside the car. Now the car's pretty old, as you already know, and I want to take care of the wiring. It's got the old glass type fuses up under the dash. So I want to remove that fuse box and install a modern type fuse box, and also just add a few extra fuses as well to take care of the tacho and stuff like that. Because if the tacho shorted out, yes, it would pop the fuse under the bonnet, but it would also probably take out a lot more stuff in the car. Would probably stop. So I want to fuse all those items, and including the engine ECU and a few other items as well. So there's basically three main circuits to the car. There's key off and power to everything, which is like the lights and stuff like that. So they run when they got the key off. There's ignition on, and there's also the circuit for when the car starts. So there's only three areas I really need to focus on and wire up those areas into the fuse box. So time to start doing that. Okay, I've trotted off down to my local JCar centre, which is just an electrical automotive store, and I've bought these. So they're just 6 fuses in the new type fuses. You've got power coming in one side and then to the item that's being fused on the other side. So they're only like $12, $13 each, and these will modernise the car so we can use modern fuses, and it'll be pretty straightforward. So now I've got those, I've made up this little plug into the side of it like that, and then that'll go off to one of the 3 main circuits. So this one's going to be for accessory on, so now I can have basically 6 items with the accessory. Currently there's only 3, but I made 6, so I've got some spare for later on if I choose to put other things in the car, maybe like a good radio or something like that. And these are for the other 2 circuits. So now it's time to, I've got to make up a bracket for that and then bolt that up underneath the car and then snip off all the wires, remove that old fuse box and put it into the car. So I'll see how we go. So I've got this bit of aluminium. I've marked it out already. I'm going to line these up along here, and this is the other one. It goes along there. And I've already marked it out. Center punched it, the holes. So now I've just got to cut along here and along here, and then I'll mount this up inside the car where the old fuse box goes. So that's the plate now that it's finished. I've just gone and got my old trusty, what are they called, those squash nuts things in there. I've just put them in there. Nutserts, that's right. Drill 2 mounting holes that'll go up sort of like that underneath the dash, and it'll bolt through that way with the fuse boxes there and there. You can't have them side by side because I just noticed when I've made the wiring harness bits that plug into them, it's going to be too wide, so I've done them like that and it'll sit up there nicely up underneath the dash. Okay, so that's it, there we have it, that's them on the plate now. So I'm just tightening them up with just an Allen key screw here just to tighten them to the plate, like that, and then that'll sit like that underneath the car, underneath the dash, which is under the car, and then the wirings will plug into the side of it like that, and then they'll go off to the 3 different circuits. So we'll have power all on one side, and then the fuses, and then off to the component like whatever it may be, lighting, engine ECU, stuff like that. Okay, I thought I'd quickly show you, this is the fuse box, the old one. So this is the old glass type fuses. So there's what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so there's 8, not 7. And this is the back of it, and you can see it's quite simple. Each one is broken up, so you've got a feed here, and a feed here. So there's 1, 2, 3, that's the 3 circuits I've got. I've already chopped off the black with white. I've marked everything already prior to cutting it off, because you don't want to cut it off and try and figure out where it all goes. Although I do have the wiring diagram, so that should be pretty simple. So I'm just going to chop off 1, 2, and the big fat blue one there, and that'll be my 3 circuits. And then all I'm going to do is attach these smaller wires to the other side of the fuse panel. So I'll just cut them and put terminals on the end, and then I'll mount up the new fuse box just up here, and then I'll have a lot more. So when I've got 12 volts to everything else, because remember we've got over here I've got the tacho and all that sort of stuff, I want to just fuse and stuff like that just in case that shits itself. I don't want to fry in the whole car. Yeah, so all that stuff will be fused, and it'll be much better. So this is a close-up view of the old fuse box that was in the car. Fit for the purpose at the time, but as you know, we've installed a lot more electronics into this car, so we're just running out of space with fuses. Could have had little fuses and that sitting all around the car, but I'd like to have them all centrally. So these are the old glass type fuses that were in there. They just sat in there like that. Spare ones sat in there, and as you can see, it's quite simple in its design, where this is the 1, 2, 3 type circuits for electricity that runs through the car. Very simple design, and now it's all been replaced with something a bit more modern. Alright, I've finished installing the 2 new fuse boxes here and here. I've got the power coming in from the 3 different circuits we talked about earlier. There's 1, 2 and 3. Key on ignition and just normal power, and then starter as well. So that's coming in this side, and this side exiting is the power off to each individual component, whether it be lights, engine ECU, tacho, a few other bits and pieces like that. So now that's all installed, you can see it's a lot more neater now, a lot more easier to access the fuses as well, a lot easier to get the fuses in and out. Just the caps pop off here and the fuses are there. I've still got to install all the fuses here because I didn't have enough 15 amps and 20 amp fuses. So I'll install them next, and then pretty much the wiring's done. Alright, that's it for this chapter. In chapter 29, I still keep on going. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you keep up with all the latest content. I'll see you in the next video in 2020.